Islanders are proud to select from the Erie Otters, Matthew Schaefer.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you taking a chance on me. Promise I won't disappoint.
I have a feeling that this is just going to be a bad contract.
Wow! 7x7 for Gavrikov.
I actually like that deal.
Gentlemen, that's one more to make me do a 180.
Welcome to New York.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this and totally redeem yourself.
Well, and that is a good question. Is there some Drew-demption going on right now? And has Darth Vader just announced the New York Islanders to everybody? Oh, I should probably bring the microphone near my face. That would also help. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Big Apple Hockey. I, of course, am your host, Mark Williams. Delighted to be back with the trio of the host of the Final Buzzer, Mr. John Filkowski.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to Chris Drury flowers for the day. I can't say anything bad about that.
And a man that has to be happy with his week from the Hockey News, Mr. Anthony LaRocco.
Yeah, solid, real solid week from Matthew Darsh. We'll see what comes next. But in some news today, the St. Louis Blues waived Nick Leddy. Just throwing that out there. It's a veteran defenseman that's out there now. Mind you, it's not a buyout. It's a regular waiver. So when he clears, he's still property of the Blues. But just throw that out there.
All right. Well, I mean, wouldn't that be nice to have another reunion for the Islanders?
The Rangers need a guy like him, but I don't know if they could do it at $4 million.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Probably not at $4 million. That would be a bit of a hefty price tag. And let's get to some of that reaction from the entire last week with the draft and free agent frenzy. Let's go to the A block, where we're going to break down a lot of the transactions that happened last week. Of course, the A block is brought to you by SeatGeek. Use the promo code Big Apple Hockey for $20 off your first order. And Big Apple Hockey trucker hats and shirts are still available on our eBay store. All right. But looking at the last week, and we're starting with the New York Islanders. Noah Dobson traded for Emil Heineman and the 16th and 17th picks last week's draft. They used them very well. They drafted first overall Matthew Schaefer, Victor Eklund, and Keyshawn Aitchison. Then yesterday, they signed Jonathan Drouin to a 2-year deal, signed backup David Rittich, and they re-signed Simon Holmstrom. You look at what the Rangers did. They drafted Malcolm Spence. He fell to them in the second round, and they traded Keandre Miller to Carolina and for Scott Morrow, a first-round pick and a second-round pick all next year. And they signed top defenseman target Vladislav Gavrikov to a 7x7 deal.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just going to have to interrupt you. Thank you, MYR for life. And thank you all, again, who stayed on that stream with us for 7 hours. There were many of you that were on there the whole time. So thank you all. And again, show some love to Rangers Central, C-Jets Nick, Johnny Lazarus, Stat Boy Steven, everybody. So
yeah, Jim Behringer as well.
Jim Behringer from Full Press. Show him some love as well.
We had, I think it's a total of just under 20 hours of streaming over the last week, guys, with all the coverage. And the lastly, by the way, the New York Rangers re-signed Will Cooley. So, Anthony, I'm going to start with you.
That's not lastly.
Well, not lastly, though. What came? Oh, because they also had Radish that they signed, but I just didn't.
Oh, you're talking just signings.
Just the signings and
stuff.
We could get to the Radish part in a minute. But Anthony, let's keep the positive vibes going. And what are your thoughts on this week with Matthew Darsh and Chris Drury and the jobs that they did?
I thought they did phenomenal jobs. I mean, obviously the Islanders draft was great. I mean, they were the big winners for many people. Darsh, his plan obviously was to try to get James Higgins too. He did his due diligence. He tried to trade up. Teams refuted him, but he didn't let that cloud his judgment and do something dumb. He he held, he stuck to his guns, and he had 2 good players fall to him that he picked up. So great job by Darsh there. And then yesterday in free agency again, he didn't spend like a drunken sailor. He got insurance in case Varlamov isn't ready to go, and a proven NHL backup, and what they call him Big Save Dave, $1 million. So you take that, provide some stability if Varlamov can't go. And then Jonathan Drouin, he's a talented player. He was injured last year, but I mean he had 30-something points and only played in like 42 games, so he was having a real good year. He's going to give the Islanders flexibility in the sense that he could play center, he could play wing. It allows them to maybe start Callum Ritchie in the AHL, which we'll touch on later in Bar Talk. So real solid signing by Darsh there. And then, like I said, he re-signed Simon Holmstrom, which great deal for him. We talked about this earlier, actually, at some point. Holmstrom and Cooley had the same exact stat line, and Holmstrom came in at 3.62. So I think that's good value for a player who's on the upswing. So yeah, good week for the Islanders. Is there more? I don't know. I know they're one of the 4 teams that are trying to sign Maxim Shabanov out of the KHL, so we'll see what transpires there. But other than that, aside from signing the rest of what the 3 RFAs he has, I'm not sure what else he's going to do, but you never know. But so far, so good. I mean, as an Islander fan, you certainly can't complain. I think he's done a good job, and we'll see what the next steps are. The Rangers, again, Chris Drury actually turned out a good performance yesterday when a lot of people were skeptical. Got a good haul for Keandre Miller. Conditional firsts, which, I mean, let's face it, it's probably good because the Hurricanes' first overall pick isn't going to be in the top 10. So I would imagine they're definitely going to get that pick. And then a second as well as a young defenseman in Scott Morrow for a player in Keandre Miller who started to flame out, a little underachieve, and the contract the Hurricanes gave him. I mean, that good on Drury for not caving and giving that to him. So good deal there. And then Gavrikov, again, everyone thought he was going to give him out this terrible contract with all this talk of 7 times 8. And then even yesterday at some point, there were reports he might get more than Provorov, and everyone was kind of getting nauseated by that. And turns out he gave 7 by 7, which is a fair contract for Gavrikov. He's going to help stabilize their defense there on the left side, playing next to Adam Fox. So good deal there. And then similar to Holmstrom, with Will Cooley, they re-signed a good young player who had a good year, who still has some more upside. So good on both teams. With that said, do I think either team is like night and day better than they were last year or totally improved? I mean, no, I don't think so at all. They didn't get worse, either of them, but I'm not going to go outside and start throwing a parade and saying that either team is going to win the division, because again, I don't think they did anything worth having that level of they really improved. But that's fine too. Well, like I said, the offseason's still young. You don't know what's going to happen, but I think from both sides, so far so good.
All right, Phil, would you agree with that? So far so good.
Yeah, I would say maybe the Rangers were a little more active on the UFA front, but Darsh took care of in-house business. Holmstrom at 3.62 is very good value. It's a little lower than Cooley, but I mean, are you really going to complain about Cooley at 3.9, especially when he's being used as a top 6 guy likely this upcoming year? No, I don't think so. So I thought that the Drouin signing was okay. I mean, it's kind of a prove it deal. I mean, it's not they're paying him like he's a middle 6 forward, and they're only giving him 2 years. So he's gonna go and he's gonna be on his best behavior. Yes, there's questions about whether or not he's a McKinnon merchant, and I think those are more than fair questions. His 2 best seasons really have come next to Nate McKinnon. So, and he kind of revived his career there, but you got to remember this is a guy that's going to be playing the next 2 years looking for a big deal to kind of close, or a bigger deal to close out his career, since he's what, 30 now, I think. If he's not 20, if he's not 30, he's 29. But he's going to be on the other side of 30 when that next deal hits. So he's going to be playing for keeps here on this contract. At $4 million, it's really not bad. 2 years. I mean, even if worst comes to worst, he bottoms out somehow and it's not a fit, or whatever the case may be. You can move that deal. So it's not bad. Good on Darsh. They get some help in. I still think they need legitimate help. Ehlers, even though I don't think he would have been the true guy that I think they need, would have been a better signing. You can kind of transition him out though if he doesn't work. Drew, that is. But otherwise, David Riddick, not a bad backup, decent signing. Darsh didn't commit to anything too major, which is good. You don't want to commit to anything too major right now. Chris Drury, for all of the heat he has gotten over the last year or so, he had himself his best day as a general manager yesterday. He went and got Gavrikov, and everybody thought that he was going to get closer to, or if not more than what Provorov got. And I don't think anyone would have liked that deal at that point. But $7 million, and you gotta look at it this way. That's a really, really good AAV, considering that probably the best defenseman in the league, or the two best, are Slavin and Forsling, and Slavin makes 6.3 life. Like, he's making just about $600K more than Slavin as a free agent, when Slavin stayed and gave Carolina a discount. That's really good for the Rangers. That's really good value. And they didn't give him the no move all the way through the contract. It was the first 5 years, and then the last 2 years are limited no trades. So that's really good for Chris Drury there. Then he goes and he re-signs Will Cooley to 3.95. And you know what? I looked at the Tyson Forster deal and I said that was the baseline. Simon Holmstrom came in just under that. And again, a lot of credit for Matthew Darsh for that one. But Will Cooley was just a little more than Tyson Forster's. And and I'm okay with that 3.9 million. Like, anything under 4 is a steal for Will Cooley right now. And sure that the deal it's not that long, but even if this is Will Cooley's absolute ceiling, to get a player like that for under $4 million, that's really, really good. So I definitely think that he did a really good job with that. And then Taylor Radish, 27 points out of nowhere on a Washington Capital team last year. And they signed him for $1.35 million, I think it was.
It's dirt cheap.
It's nothing. Like, he's cheap middle six depth. And maybe he doesn't. Listen, I know Washington is a big regression candidate for me. And I get that a lot of guys there had career years, and the PDO was high. Shooting percentages were unsustainable for a lot of those guys. But I think Taylor Radish, who at one point was one of the better prospects in the NHL, was one of Tampa Bay's top 2 prospects. That's big. That's big for the Rangers there. You can say that they wish they spent it on Bjugstad instead, but this team wants to get faster. Bjugstad is not a burner. He's not anywhere close to being a guy that can play with speed or intensity or like that. Yes, he's a big body. Yes, he can win some faceoffs. He's a good penalty killer. But this team wants to get away from bigger guys like that. Well, not bigger necessarily, but slower guys like that. So, I think that Chris Drury did really good in the signing department. Again, Taylor Radish, if it doesn't work, oh well. Okay, he's gone. And then you could go and get him. I don't know if I agree with Dominic Moore, but I do like him as a plug and play bottom 6 guy. I agree.
Well, let me go right back to the Islanders and start with them for a minute. From the draft on, I was more than impressed with what Matthew Darsh did. And yeah, it would have been nice if they could have found a way to go up and get Higgins. And there were teams asking for King's ransoms. And you know what? He stayed disciplined. You end up with Victor Eklund, who's William Eklund's brother, and who a lot of people projected to go around 10. They got him at 16. He's a solid player. And a guy that Anthony predicted to go 10, who's a very good physical force, Keyshawn Aitchison. He could be that guy's tailor-made for the New York Islanders. So right there, you got a great day for him. Then he goes off, signs Jonathan Drouin. I was opposed to Jonathan Drouin for a lot of teams. For the New York Islanders, it works. It could be a transitional player, and at least he's a guy that the Islanders can bring in, get whatever they can out of him. If he ends up playing 82 games in a season, Anthony, I think that's a win. The one thing is that you could always say for Jonathan Drouin was he was injured is a lot of his career. Matter of fact, just looking at his Hockey DB page, he played over 70 games once since 2019. That's not a recipe for a guy to have long-term success. He's a guy that went to Montreal, took on the pressure, but never really flourished there. So Drouin, right, as Status Viral saying right here, problem is Drouin gets injured too much. Drouin is a good pickup for the Islanders. Doesn't like he's a buy low, sell high type of guy. You can always move on from him. Now over to the Rangers. There was a lot of negativity with the Rangers, and it all turned on a dime as soon as Gavrikoff's contract came in at 7-for-7. Because as soon as that happened, it wasn't an indicator. It could be an albatross type contract. And then the Rangers had some flexibility. They end up moving Keandre Miller. You're telling me that Keandre Miller is worth $1.5 million more than Gavrikov? You're out of your mind. So we'll start with that one. And then you get Will Cooley, decent price. By the way, Simon Holmstrom, the shorthanded extraordinaire that he is, that's a great price for him at $3.6 million. I think both of these guys had such a great day. But now the question is, are they done? And do you see any future moves on the horizon for either team, Anthony? And do you see any future moves?
Sorry, Mosquito Joe is here, so the dogs are going nuts. I have it on. What would you say?
Do you see any upcoming moves for these teams, or are they? You think they're just going to go into the season like this?
I mean, it's both teams don't have a lot of cap space right now. But I mean, you could always move a player to gain more cap space if there's something out there that you really want to do. And again, as I mentioned, both teams are in the mix for Maxim Shabanov.
All right. Well, we're going to come back to Anthony on that one in a second. Phil, if you were Chris Drury, what more would you need to do on that?
You need to move Carson Soucy. You need to go move Carson Soucy. You need to get a decent replacement on the left side on defense, and then you need to go get a third line center. Really, you can't put Johnny Brodzinski or Yusuf Parson as third line center there. I would like to get Pius Suter. I just don't know if he's going to be within the Rangers' budget. I don't know if they can really pull that one off cap wise. It's going to be tough. So I just think that those are two moves that they need to make, and I would like this team a lot more going into next season with those moves. And I do think that if you can do those, you're a better team. I think you're a better team night and day than you were, this past season. But for the Islanders, that's tough. Maybe you could go bring in another defenseman. I mean, I thought Brian Dumoulin would have been really good for them. I think you may be right about Suter there. $5 million over 4 years. So, no, you can buy him out.
Yeah, no.
You can buy him out. That buyout is nothing. You can buy him out.
Yeah.
Have fun with that one, though, Dealey, because no one is going to do that. And everyone knows that he's a buyout candidate. So, yeah, that buyout will be 10 years, but it'll be less than $1 million for all 10 of those years. And 2 of those years, you'll have it at less than $500K. So he's getting bought out. Just a matter of when. Yeah, as for the Islanders, I think I would like them to get more middle six help, maybe. I wonder if John Gabriel Pageau gets moved. I mean, I just think that he's the obvious candidate, but I think they're going to need middle six help to replace him. And then I think I would like some sort of help on defense for the Islanders.
The Rangers right now, I believe they have, I think it's $4.5 million of cap space. So we'll check that. So moving on from Soucy would really help. Maybe you'd see. I think Pew Suter is a pipe dream. I don't see him bringing down his price to get enough the Rangers. 4.744 right now for the Rangers, and they can get another $3 million of space. For the Islanders, they're gonna. It'll be interesting to see what the Islanders can do because I think they're a little bit more cash strapped as of right now, but they're going to be, I don't think they should stay disciplined, stick to the retool. If they're good enough to make the playoffs, great. If not, you just kind of move on from there. Islanders got $6 million right now in cap space, so they're not as cash strapped as I thought. I could have sworn. My research before said, but they do have to re-sign Siplikov,
Gatcomb,
and Hudson Fashing. And
I mean, the latter two aren't really that important to me.
Hudson Fashing, the UFA, he's not coming back, Mark.
Yeah. Okay, so they're not bringing him back. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's what Alan was asking before. He said, how are they fitting Siplikov, Heineman, and Gatcomb with only $3.5 million in cap space left?
So Gatcomb is going to make no more than like $875,000. He's relatively insignificant for the cost. Siplikov, 31 points or whatever his rookie year. I mean, he's not going to make any more than maybe 2.25. And Heineman, same thing. Heineman's going to probably be like a $2 million player. So between all three of them, maybe a hair over $5 million.
And they got $6 million to spare, so they probably could do that easily. All right. Yeah. Tommy, we're gonna save your question about Bowen Byram for later, but let's go into some of these events that happened over the weekend. If you guys didn't know about this, that there was Toronto trades Mitch Marner to Vegas for Nicholas Waugh. It looks like he could be a solid third line center for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Very good third line.
Yeah. Marner re-signs with Vegas for 8 years at $12 million per. Vegas was accused of tampering, but then because they worked out this trade, it looks like it might be going away. Filk, out of the transactions yesterday, a contract or a trade, what's the one that caught your eye?
Gavrikov was great because I thought that the AAV was going to be a lot higher on him. In a bad way, Tanner Jeannot, like, what are we doing here, Boston? What are we doing here? Like, the numbers on him just are not good. They're not. And he's literally putting up fourth line numbers, and he just got paid $3.5 million. Like, it's funny. I watched the Nyquist video, like, grading, like, signings and stuff like that, and he literally said the same thing I was thinking. Like, why do people are like, what do people see with this guy? Like, what do people see with this guy? And then he also said the same about Cody Ceci. Like, he keeps not working out wherever he's going, but people tend to pay him like he's a top 4 defenseman when he's not. So Cody Ceci was another deal that I looked at where I'm just like, no. So, Granlund to the Ducks was okay. Like I didn't think that was a great signing or a terrible or a terrible signing either way. I thought that was about fair value, like on market. Like, okay, like he's a 60-point player. 60-point players recently have been getting in the $7 million range. He got $7 million over 3 seasons. Good for him. That's not a bad deal for him or for Anaheim. So, it just I just didn't think that it was a really that great of a deal or really that bad of a deal. Brock Besser going back to Vancouver. Like, I did not see that coming. That was weird. And it's not terrible value for a guy that can give you an upwards of 30 to 35 goals. He's got to stay healthy. And, are you going to get the Besser from 2 years ago that scored 40 goals? Or are you going to get the Besser that's really like a 25 goal guy? He had in 75 games last year, he had 25 goals and 50 points. And the year before was 40 and 73 and 81 games. So which Besser are you getting? Like, are you getting the guy that's the outlier or the guy that's closer to last year's numbers? Because 7.25 is a little high for last year, but there is potential for him to put up more goals and points. So,
yeah, Anthony, that was a bit of a shocker. Besser going back to Vancouver for you, right?
Yeah, I didn't see that happening. I thought he was 100% gone. Honestly, the free agent pool, which we all know, wasn't great this year. And which deal he's asking there, where do you see Ehlers going? I mean, the top free agent is still available. But with that said, none of the signings yesterday really made me go, oh wow, that's fantastic. Like that team got a really good player. Like none of it really did anything for me. In a positive way, honestly, I think the Granlund deal probably was my favorite, just because he is a really good player. As Phil said, that's the going rate. $7 million is about the going rate for a guy who puts up the points that he does. And I think Anaheim added a really good player to their mix. So for me, that I liked that deal the best. In a negative way, the Cody Ceci deal. I mean, what are the Kings doing there? I didn't like Cody. I didn't like Cody
DeAndre Miller deal. Just way too much.
The Keandre Miller deal, that too. But yeah, nothing really stood out to me. I mean, I'm actually curious to see where Ehlers lands, and what that contract's going to look like. I mean, with Marner gone, I thought he was far and away the best player available. So we'll see where he goes. Hopefully it breaks while we're on air. I mean, Chris Johnson said earlier this morning that he's narrowed his list down and that it looks like he might get a decision today. With our luck, it'll be later on. But I think whatever team gets Ehlers.
Oh, that would be an interesting one if he went to the Lightning. I don't know how they would make that work.
Yeah, the Lightning, I looked at they would have to move out some decent salary.
Move out. If you move out Oliver Bjorkstrand, I think that would be a really good move for them to move Bjorkstrand and then get Ehlers. I think Ehlers can really fit in. I think Tampa Bay loves to play off the rush. I don't think he's a fit with the Canes. I really don't. I don't. I think he could maybe fit with the Capitals and give them a little bit of a speed and playmaking element that they lack. But he fits like a glove for me in Tampa Bay. He really does. If they can move Bjorkstrand and get Ehlers in there, that would be something else for them.
Yeah, it would be. If they can make it happen, I think it would work. I know it's easy to say because those are the two teams talked about him the most, but I think he ends up with either Washington or Carolina.
And we're going to make the call which one of those teams is going to go to win the Bar.
Colorado also mentioned for him a little bit.
Ooh, Colorado got him. That'd be a great fit too.
They moved out salary, so they have. I know Puckdoku was off before at Florida. We discussed
dark horse,
but Puckpedia has them listed at $7.55 million in cap space. So I mean, they really maybe have to move out $1 million if they sign him. So that would be a great fit. And also too, remember the speculation around Ehlers is that he wanted to go somewhere quiet. And Colorado's pretty quiet, right?
Yeah. Not only that, but he wouldn't have to be the guy there.
Yeah. So I think Colorado might be a really good fit if they can make it work.
Oh my God. So they have 8.325 according to cap wages. So they wouldn't have to move out much. Kiviranta and VC are likely not coming back. The only thing that they're going to have to do is replace Eric Johnson on defense. They may have someone that can come up in their system that could do that, though. But yeah, for them, Ehlers fits in like a glove too. There,
yeah.
I mean, they play a lot of their offense comes from off the rush, and they need a top six forward badly there. They have McKinnon, they have Nelson, they have Natras, they have Nichushkin. I mean, if you want to consider Lehkonen a top six forward, I guess you can. I like him more as a middle six guy, but you probably could look at him as a top six forward option. And then you add Ehlers to that. It's a pretty good looking offense there.
Yeah.
There's so many moves to mention, and we're gonna be saying Tanner Jeannot for another answer right here. So I'm gonna stick with
that was also a head scratcher. Yeah.
Oh yeah, don't worry. Well, the contract that aged poorly, which is coming up very soon. We'll get right back to that one. But I'm shocked. I was a dead set opponent to this deal. The Gavrikov signing is going to be huge for me. The Rangers have lacked a shutdown defenseman for a long time. They wanted it to be Jacob Trouba. It wasn't him. They were still a successful team, even without a good shutdown defenseman. I still would like to see a defensive center that they could turn to for matchups, but instead they got somebody that now you can play him against the other team's top unit. My question is, how are they going to use him beyond that? If it's partnering him with Adam Fox, I don't like it as much, because you want to see that unit extend out a little bit, maybe pair him up with somebody else that then Fox gets more favorable matchups. Maybe you go with that one. But again, that contract coming in at 7 for 7 instead of 7 by 9 completely changed my entire point of view on that deal. You heard me last week. I was starting to make comparisons to Wade Redden. I now look like an idiot. It's not the first time, and it won't be the last, guys. All right. Anthony, I'm going to go right back to you. What contract do you look at and think is the best value?
Best value? Best value. It's a tough one. Yes.
And you can even go with the extensions yesterday if you want to.
I mean, I like, you know what? I think I'm going to go back to Anaheim with Mikael Granlund. I think the market value was spot on. I think he was paid properly. I think he's going to a team in Anaheim that's building up a lot of skill with Leo Carlsson, Troy Terry, Mason McTavish. I think he's going to be put in the situation where he's going to play top line minutes. He's probably going to produce at least 60 plus points again. So, I think he's going to be one of their better players next year. But you know what, too? Yesterday was day one. Day two, you're still going to have more free agents out there. Like, Anthony Beauvillier is still a free agent. He could sign like a 1-year deal at $900,000 and maybe score 20 goals for a team, and that would be good value. So right now, again, I'll go back to Granlund, but I just yesterday was weird for me. It was kind of just like
it was very blasé, right?
Yeah, not much. Not really a ton happened.
Phil, what do you think? What contract is a great value for you?
I mean, for me, I would say that Gavrikov was probably one of the better value contracts I've seen. I still don't think it was like a complete steal, but it was very good value considering some of the things that were happening, like Romanov getting almost $7 million, Provorov getting $8.5 million was stupid. I think that was one of the worst contracts that was given out yesterday. Mangiapane was really, like Evan's saying here, really good value. Aaron Ekblad at 6.1. Like, I know it was a re-signing. I like Kuzmenko 1 year for 4.3. Like, I think he could come in and give LA a shot in the arm offensively. Underrated one for me that I look at and it's not getting enough love, I think, is Henry Jokiharju with 3 years, $3 million for Boston. I think he's a solid bottom pairing guy that has some room to grow. And I think at $3 million, I think you're getting a very reliable player on your bottom, like 2 pairings. Maybe he plays a little higher in Boston. But Connor Brown, I like the AAV. I do. I don't like the 4th year. I think the term is just a little too long, like a year too long. But I like $3 million for a guy that's going to be an absolute pain in the ass to play against. I really do. LA did all right with some of their bottom 6 forwards. Joel Armia is not bad at 2.5. 2 years. That's not a bad one. I like what Utah did with Nate Schmidt and Brandon Tanev. Tanev at 2.5 million. Again, another one. Pain in the ass to play against. Tenacious forechecker. He's a shit disturber. He gets under your skin. He just annoys the hell out of you. I do like that. Radek Faksa to Dallas is actually another underrated signing because he's familiar there. I mean, he played there for a very long time, all of his career, except for that 1 year last year in St. Louis. He comes back. He's the perfect 4th line center. He's got size. He plays physical, kills penalties, wins faceoffs. He'll give you some offense on that 4th line. That's a really good one for me. So those are some of the ones that I liked. I will say this. Anthony is right. Kind of a blasé kind of day. Not anything that really blows your socks off. The Gavrikov, I say, is very good value because it's 1, surprising, and 2, compared to some of the other guys around, he got less than I thought he was going to get.
I just thought of one I forgot. Evgeny Dodonov in New Jersey, $1 million for a guy who was 20-20-40 last season. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good too. That's a definite prove it deal. I wonder how he fits there.
For $1 million, if he scores 40, even if he replicates that stat line, 20 goals, 40 points for a guy making $1 million, I mean, how could you complain about that?
Well, I'll bring up the Thatcher Demko contract. That could be good value if he returns to his Vezina Trophy form, or Vezina runner-up form, I should say. That's 3 years at $8.5 million. Who'd have thought you'd have to pay a goaltender that? I thought you'd have to pay him $11.5 million. The other one that we haven't mentioned and we haven't talked about, guys, what do you think about the Logan Stanko of an 8-year, $6 million deal? Like, that's a good investment in him. And if he develops the way we think he is, that could be a great deal for Carolina for years.
Yeah, potential. Absolutely. He's small, but he's a very good player.
All right, let's finish with just, although I think we covered it. If you got one that you haven't mentioned, a contract that's going to age poorly very quickly. I think we got one.
No, Cody Ceci.
Yeah.
Ivan Provorov is another one that's really bad for me. Like, if he was a guy that was still scoring like 40 points and his defensive metrics were good, I'd be all about that. But 8.5 over 7 years, I'm not a fan of that. I think that's going to age like milk, like in the sun.
Yeah, I go back to the Cody Ceci one. I mean, Jake Allen for 5 more years. You're taking him through the end of his career to be a backup.
$1.8 million though. The AAV is low.
That's okay. All right. Well, and guys, I guess the last question to ask about free agency, because we're all waiting with bated breath for when this is going to happen. But when do you think that we're going to hear about Connor McDavid staying with the Oilers?
I don't think, as he said, I don't think he's in any rush. You know, it could happen. Could happen tomorrow. Could happen in early August, end of August.
The pain in your face right there, Anthony, was just hilarious.
I'm not worried about Connor McDavid and when he signs. I think he's going to sign. I think the next question really should be is Maxim Shabanov. The two New York teams look like the finalists for him, and if you could bring in that type of talent on the roster, young talent, I think that could be a shot in the arm for either team.
Give us your take on Shabanov.
Nope. Not how it's spelled.
Nope, not how it's spelled. All right.
Nope.
I had to do it really quick.
Nope. Wow.
Damn it.
I'll take care of that.
Okay, Anthony, what's your take on Shabanov?
I've talked to Igor Aranko about him a bunch of times to get updates. Let me see. Oh, speaking of which, like a glove, my inbox. He's in no rush, but I heard it's down to Flyers or Islanders.
I've heard Rangers.
Well, anyway, as far as him, he's 5'7", 5'8", highly skilled. He's got really good hands, great stick handler. You can see videos of him on Twitter where he does the Michigan and he's like just dangling through people. So he's very skilled. The knock on him obviously is that he's small. And there's there's kind of no guarantee how his game is going to translate to the NHL. So he's certainly skilled enough. Can he adjust to a more physical game in the NHL? I really don't know. These Russian players are hit and miss. Obviously, Panarin comes over, fantastic player. Nikita Gusev comes over, 50-point season, flames out, goes back home.
I don't think he hit 50.
I mean, Shipachyov, remember him in Vegas? Yep. Barely got an opportunity to play. Didn't really pan out. So you don't really know. Is he going to be Kirill Kaprizov or is he going to be, Maxim Siplikov? Although they're all three of them are totally different players. So it's hard to say. Yes, he has a ton of skill. I think whatever team gets him, it's certainly worth taking a shot on and seeing how he does. But, judging how these Russian KHL players are going to pan out, it's just so hard.
Yeah, because especially changes in the way the game is played, the ice, the bigger ice in Russia, obviously. I mean, it's hard to tell. There's been the success stories, and we're going to see which one he's going to be. And Jeff McNeil just got plunked, but I got the Mets game on as well, guys. But anyway, let's go and let's get into further talk about everything that's happening around the league with our NHL Bar Talk.
Shot. This is the easiest I've ever had to answer.
Let me say beer. I can't even begin to describe.
I'm actually going to go crazy. I'm going to buy everybody around on this one. And welcome back to Big Apple Hockey's Bar Talk, everybody, where we're gauging our confidence on NHL topics based on our choice of drink. So confident that you buy around. So still have a beer. Oh, God. Give me a shot. Play along down in the comments below, everyone. And we're going to start once again with the local teams, and we'll start with the New York Rangers again. Rangers right now, 4.744 in cap space, and looking to move potentially Carson Soucy to open up some more room. Filk, the Rangers are done making moves, and I missed the comment.
Where's the hoop?
Where's
Sir Marcus playoffs.
Well, Maria was happy to have the hoop on camera yesterday.
The Rangers are done making moves. Beer. I don't know if there's any major moves coming. I think I would hope that they move out Carson Soucy and go get a legitimate like left side defenseman there. Like I'm not home for the hoop. Yeah, I don't think they're done. I would get rid, like I said, get rid of Soucy, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Maybe one or two small moves, and I think as far as major moves, they're probably done. But small moves, no. And so I'll say Beer just because I could see like one or two small moves happening.
All right, Anthony, what do you think? Are there going to be more moves by the Rangers in this offseason?
Let me just address this because he's asked twice. Matthew Darch said yesterday he doesn't expect Mike Riley or Hudson Fasching to be back. Mike Riley signed with the Hurricanes, so no, Fasching is not coming back. Now, when you say this, are you even referencing just signing like a depth guy for the minors, or are you talking like significant moves?
I think significant moves. Let's go with that.
All right, if it's a significant move, I'll say Beer. Because yes, obviously I think they're going to sign a guy, but yeah, they don't have much cap space. You know, they could move out a guy like Carson Soucy to give him some wiggle room. But the other thing too is there's not much. I mean, there's not much left. Obviously, Nikolai Ehlers is out there, but that's not happening. Other than that, I mean, Orlov, Burns, I don't see him in on either. Grizzlick, maybe it's not. I don't even know what's out there left. Big move, but so yeah, I'm gonna say Beer. I think like the Islanders, I think they should do more, but whether or not they can is a different story. So for me, it's a Beer.
Yeah, probably the lamest hat trick we're all gonna have. So it's a Beer because you just don't see much out there for them to make moves on. I can't imagine Parson being the third line center. They really need a third line center. That's almost like having Alexander Wenberg be the third line center 2 years ago, even though Wenberg played fairly well with the Rangers, even scored a game winner in overtime in game 3 of the conference finals. But they're just no. They need to do something else. I think they've done enough to change the culture in the locker room. Question is, can they change some more? I don't know, but it's more than likely just going to be Matt Grizzlick or some depth defenseman that they're going to get.
I would take Grizzlick. I definitely would. But again, 39 assists last year, 40 points total. Maybe he prices himself out of the Rangers' range, but definitely a guy that I would take a flyer on if I could.
Depends if he wants to play for Mike Sullivan. I'll tell you that one.
Yeah, he has played for him, so.
And speaking about guys who are just got to figure out where they're playing this year, Callum Ritchie, we all know he was acquired in the Brock Nelson trade, and Jonathan Drouin does give them a guy that they could play at center or on the wing for 2 years. Anthony, the addition of Jonathan Drouin allows Callum Ritchie to start next season in the AHL.
I'm going to say round because you say allow. Of course, it allows them to. Will it? It is a different question and would probably change my answer. But yeah. So with Pajot likely staying, and you already have Cizikas as a center, Horvat, Barzal can play center, Drouin can play center. They have enough options at center where they don't need Callum Ritchie to start there at center ice. And on the flip side, they have a lot of wingers where they wouldn't really need him to play wing if they didn't want to have him start his career on the wing either. So they have enough depth where, yeah, I mean, with the addition of Drouin, it does allow them to start him in the AHL. With that said, I don't think he is. I think Callum Ritchie is going to make the team out of camp. You know, he had the cup of tea with the Avalanche last season before he got sent back to junior.
I think he scored a goal against the Islanders.
Yeah, the Islanders, yeah. From everything I hear, this kid's ready. So barring a camp where he just looks overwhelmed and not there yet, I would say that he'll make the team. But to answer this technical question with the wording, yes, round, because it does allow them to. I just don't think it will.
Phil, does this allow them to start Callum Ritchie in the AHL?
I'm not really sure about this, to tell you the truth. He looked good in very limited action in the NHL. Albeit he was in Colorado, so it's different. It can't hurt him to have some time there. He definitely can't go back to junior.
No.
There's nothing for him to prove there. I would definitely. I mean, either way, I'm gonna go Beer. I can't really say for sure that he'll start next year with the Islanders. I mean, if he comes to training camp and blows them, blow them away, okay, let him go then at that point and let him see what he can do. But I really don't think either way it's really good or bad. I do think he can probably earn a spot if he wants to, and obviously that's the goal for every player. But there's nothing on the Islanders that really screams that he should be playing over him. I'm with Evan on this. I don't see the correlation here. I don't.
I think it's also that they're talking about the roster flexibility right here. And I understand what
Richie's a center and Duran's really a winger.
Yeah, Duran for the most part has been a wing in his NHL career. I know he's had that ability to play center. And then do you move Barzell back to center, even though he's had such great chemistry with Horvat?
No, I don't think you do that. I mean, really, I would give Richie the chance to earn that 2C spot if he wants it. Give him a chance. If he doesn't, then send him down.
Yeah, that's why, you know what? I'm actually going to go shot on this one. I actually think give him the chance to earn that 2C spot. The other thing would be, I understand the organization is going through
an blocking Richie though.
You don't
have a number 2C.
He's really. I don't think he is. Because Pageau's a 3C.
Okay. All right. So here's the issue. If you go to Barzal and Horvat as 1 and 2C, which understandable. That's been done there before. Where's your depth on the wings? Duran, Duclair, where's your wing depth? Are you moving Holmstrom into the top 6 now?
Oh, don't forget Kyle Palmieri
and Anders Lee.
Again, where I have a hard time believing that those guys are legitimate top 6 forwards. I'm sorry, but Palmieri is a guy that gets you maybe 40 points, 45 points. Anders Lee, what is he at this point? Is he going to decline further? He's in the last year of his deal. He's 34 going on 35 now, Anth? Or 33, 34?
He's 32 at the youngest, maybe 34 at the oldest. I don't
he's in an age where I just think that he had a nice resurgence last year, but can you really bet on that 2 years in a row?
Oh, Palmieri did have 54 points last year, and then
another resurgence year. But can you bet on that? He's a 2009 draft pick, so he's in Chris Kreider's draft. That's 34 years old right there.
Yeah.
For me, I think I would be excited to see what Cal Ritchie can do. That's just me.
Well, there is the temptation to try to rush it, but on the other hand, I think the other philosophy is
who doesn't earn it, just send him down.
All right. Well, moving on, guys, to the big name on the free agent board that's still left, Nikolai Ehlers. Rumors is that he is choosing between the Washington Capitals, the Carolina Hurricanes, and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Anthony, going to go right back to you on this one. The Capitals are the team that needs Nikolai Ehlers more than the Hurricanes.
Yeah, I'll go beer. The Capitals lost Mangiapane, who played sometimes on the third line, but mostly he played in a top 6 role for him last season. They're a team that I think overachieved last year, so there's certainly a good chance they take a little bit of a step back. And maybe they don't, but it's fair to assume they will. So I think adding a player like Nikolai Ehlers, who's you could pencil in for at least 60 points and plays with a really fast pace is certainly more needed on the Capitals than on the Hurricanes. I mean, the Hurricanes are going to play that fast paced style no matter who they have on the roster. You've seen them do it the last few years. So I'm not going to go round, but I'll say beer and say yes, the Capitals need them a little bit more than the Hurricanes.
Phil, which do you think, Hurricanes or the Capitals?
I'm actually going round here. I think Washington is such a strong candidate for regression. Not saying that they're going to be horrible and they're going to completely miss the playoffs, but they were the PDO Kings last year. And that number is not a good number to have. It's not a good – you don't want that crown. A lot of their guys were high shooting percentage guys last year that are due to regress because a lot of those numbers are completely unsustainable. Like if you look up and down their lineup at their shooting percentages, it's not good. Well, the numbers are high, and that's why it's not good, I should say. But I mean, their shooting percentages were unreal. Strome 19.5. That's just about 20. Ovechkin 18.6, and he's going to be 40 by the time the season starts. And he already broke the record. What are you getting from him next year? Alexei Protas 21.1 for a 30-goal season. That's going to regress. Pierre-Luc Dubois 14.1 is one of the more normal-looking ones. Tom Wilson 19.5 for a career year at the age of 30. Connor McMichael broke out 14.7. That's likely going to regress. Mangiapane had 14.7. He had only 14 goals. So, like, the guys who had normal shooting percentages, the one that I think that'll rebound, actually, is John Carlson, 3.0, and he had 5 goals in 79 games. I think he'll get closer to 10 goals, if not maybe more. But some of these are just completely unsustainable. So, for me, the Ehlers needs to be more on a no, and I don't think you can assume this. I really don't think you can assume that. Like it's a matter of fit. It's not by conference. It's a team by team basis. Conference doesn't matter. It's the teams, and it's the team that you go to. If you put Ehlers on a team that plays off the cycle and loves to go low to high like Carolina, he may not fit there. Washington plays a little more off the rush. They like to attack and transition. He probably fits a little better there. Not saying a great fit, but Washington definitely needs him more than Carolina, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I'm actually going to – you guys talk me into this one. I'm going to go round on this. I think Washington could probably use another playmaker on that team because you're going to have to feed these guys like Protas, Connor McMichael's a good playmaker. Don't get me wrong. It's just they're going to need more help with that, and sometimes that's all they need. And just to address what D. Ely is saying right here, I don't think it's as much conference anymore. It used to be maybe about 20 years ago where the East was always a little bit more about big bodies and stuff like that. And the West was more about the speed. I think now it's now completely open on that. So I don't think it's about which conference he's in.
Who are you pointing to though, D. Ely? Like I can't see any examples that you're talking about. And not only that, but I mean, case study is always player by player and team by team.
Yeah, like take for instance, Artemi Panarin went from the Blackhawks to
Columbus, and he's been better since.
He flourished since. So, I mean, that's one of them, but that's just one I can think of right now. Let's go down to Florida, guys, where the Panthers right now, according to cap wages, they have $4.5 million in the negative. So they're going to have to make some moves. Filk, The Panthers will trade Evan Rodriguez and someone else.
The end part is really what like gets me. Who are they dealing otherwise? Evan Rodriguez is a prime target. I would want the Rangers to be in on Evan Rodriguez. I tell you right now, like that's a guy I would, especially if Florida is up against a cap crunch and you can get him for cheap. That's a guy that I'd want in New York right now. Like give me. I'm gonna go beer, just because the and is what concerns me. I look at Florida, and right now, per cap wages, they're 4.5 under. So it says that they're going to have to move somebody else. But who is that going to be? Is that going to be Jesper Boquist? I can't see them moving Luosterainen. Again, I think this number has them with 16 forwards, so I think someone else is going to go down. But they also have to re-sign Mackie Samoskevich, and unless they plan on moving him. So maybe they do that. I don't know, but yeah, I'm going to go beer.
Anthony, we went with the cap wages number because you said before Puck PD has it a little bit lower, but they still got to re-sign Samoskevich. So are they going to trade Rodriguez plus?
I mean, it depends what the true number is, but yeah, I'm going to say round because I think they're definitely going to have to move a guy. Yes, Evan Rodriguez, because moving just Jesper Boquist is $1.5 million. So I think there would be a market for Evan Rodriguez. And if you look at the roster, who else are they going to trade? Like
I think I got one name, but I'm going to say that in a minute.
I doubt they're not going to trade Luosterainen. Greer and Nosek are going to make up 2/3 of their fourth line. So I don't see him moving either of those. And plus, they make peanuts anyway. So by logical conclusion, the only guy you come up with is Evan Rodriguez. So yeah, I'm going to think he's moved at some point.
Yeah, the end is the hard part. And if it's the 4.5 plus signing Samoskevich, there's a guy that was sort of the one that got away from the Rangers. I'm going to say round on this one because I think they might have to move Nico Mikkola. I think they're probably going to have to do it. He's got no trade protection. There's no trade protection. He's got a 1 year left on his deal at 29 years old, making $2.5 million. Him and Rodriguez would equal $5 million. You can get him out of there, and then you knock off, say, Nolan Foote and another low-paying guy, and maybe that means you can actually fit all these players under. Rodriguez, I mean, that's going to be an interesting market, and I wonder if, because he doesn't have no trade protection. No, he doesn't. He's got 2 years left on his deal at $3 million. He's always been that guy that like teams got and expected him to explode, and he really hasn't. But he went to Boston University, so let's face it, he's going to be on the New York Rangers soon enough.
I don't know. I think that they'd move Kulikov from there. I really do. I think Kulikov would be the guy that they would move, and that would get them. That would get them probably. It would get them $4.15 million in cap space, and then some of these other guys going down, and they'll fit like just underneath it.
Or they're just going to throw somebody on like LTIR or some cap circumvention move to do all this. Let's face it, that's the other part of this.
Hello, Vegas. Hello, Vegas.
we're attacking this from logical standpoints, guys. Sorry, we forgot where we're going to look at it and go, no, that
Dallas
is some bull.
I mean, Deal's asking Dallas is just over the cap too.
Yes, that's another team that they have some trouble with negative cap space.
I hate to tell you this, but you're not getting a first for John Gabriel Pageau. Like I would listen. I get the optimism there, but I don't see that happening.
I don't think you would right now. I think he's more valuable when it comes to trade deadline because everybody's going to want.
I still think you're getting maybe a second and an okay prospect at that point. I just look at the I look at the recent deals for third line centers, and in the cap era, and I you can't even say the Gord trade because that was him and Bjorkstrand, and they got 2 first rounders in that deal. So that's not a comparable deal either.
With the cap, sorry, Anthony.
It's also supply and demand right now. Go look at free agents available at center iceman. It's terrible.
Okay, and here's another thing you're forgetting. This 2026 draft is
very deep.
One of the better drafts in a while. I highly doubt you're going to see a lot of first-round picks moved unless it's for legitimate, like, top 6 forwards or top 2 defensemen. So I don't see a team giving up a first-rounder in this type of draft for John Gabriel Pajot. Would you if you were a general manager?
I mean, a team that knows they're going to be picking 28th, maybe. I'm not saying
but are you one piece away?
That's why I think the deadline matters more on this one. That's why he's got it's when you would see a move like that and of that quality.
A team that's one piece away. Yeah, teams get desperate, but teams value these picks more than you think.
Yeah, right now they're going to hold on to them. They're not Carolina just giving them up for.
I just don't see it for a guy like Pajot. If you would have told me you were getting like a second line center, I think maybe there's a discussion to be had, but I think teams are going to be very hesitant to deal these picks away, these first-round picks in this year's draft.
This is like the greatest draft ever. This is like the 2003 draft, the way everybody's hyping it up. So we're going to see about that one. By the way, guys, so
it's different from Pajot. It's a different story. That's apples to oranges.
And let's see if Anders Lee is doing what Anders Lee did last year.
Well, I don't even know if he's going to be available.
Which is a good point.
Yeah, I don't know if he. Yeah, I don't know. It's too hard to. I don't know how Darch values him. He may not want to leave. He may want to be an Islander his whole career. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, he may sign for less there.
Yeah, he would be a guy that would take a pay cut to do that. Guys, look at the Central Division teams: Winnipeg, Dallas, all of them. They really didn't improve much in the last couple days. Arguably the most major free agent signing was Nate Schmidt in Utah. However, there was the trade for Logan Mailloux by the St. Louis Blues. But Anthony, the Central teams did nothing to improve.
I mean, if you look at this, Chicago added Sam Lafferty, Colorado added Gavin Brindley, Dallas Radek Fatska, Minnesota Tarasenko is washed, Nico Sturm, Nashville Eric Halla, Nick Hogg, Nick Perbix. So you get the idea. I mean, no one really added a true needle mover. The Winnipeg Jets added Jonathan Taves, who hasn't played hockey in 2 years, and he's 37. So yeah, out of all the teams, you could look to, Utah, Peruvinich, Tanev, Schmidt solid, and then they traded for JJ Peterka. So they're the one team that I could say, yeah, they improved, but I think they're the only one in the Central I could say that confidently. So I'll go beer.
All right, Phil, what do you think?
Technically, I'm going to have to. I mean, if we're technically speaking, we're really going to get literal here. It's going to have to be a shot then at that point because you said did nothing. Yeah, I'll say beer, just because they didn't do a lot. I mean, Schmidt and Tanev is really good for Utah.
Yes.
Like they got the tops, but Utah is like really the one team that did a lot to improve. Like you're forgetting Peterka. Like they went and they got Peterka. Like before this, they didn't give up a lot to get Peterka. They replaced Kesselring with Schmidt, and then they get and then they get Brandon Tanev to round out their bottom six. They're already a pain in the ass to play against. They got significantly better, if you ask me.
You know what? You talked me into it. I was actually going to say, I guess round on this one, but I'm going to go back down to a beer. Utah would be the only team that really significantly improved. Dallas really did not. Colorado already did their work before all this started, so I can't really use Colorado as an example. And I mean, you look around and St. Louis, you kind of thought maybe Jordan Kyrou was going to get moved. Maybe there was going to be some big noise out of that, but instead, so far, nothing. We'll see if there is any smoke to that fire. Probably not. So I'm just going to go beer on this one. I think they really didn't improve, but the fact that Utah did improve, that's why it's at least upgraded. And one team that improved a lot, there's a lot of offseason changes, the Anaheim Ducks, that they brought in Joel Quenneville. They brought in Chris Kreider from the Rangers, obviously Ryan Poehling from the Flyers, Peter Mrazek, Michael Granlund, and then they only lost Trevor Zegras, John Gibson, who finally was moved, and Isaac Lundstrom. Anthony, right back to you again. The Ducks are the most improved team in the Pacific Division.
Kings made a bunch of moves, but I mean, Dumoulin, Ceci, or Joel Armia, I think for them it's just more so they stayed the same. Edmonton, Mangiapane in, Connor Brown out again. I think that's kind of similar. And then Vegas got Mitch Marner, and they didn't really lose anybody. So I think it's hard to say. I think they might be the most improved considering the caliber of player that they got. I mean, they're already a good team. They're still going to be good. So I get the point of this. The Ducks are bad. They're going to be better. But I gotta say, because of Big Mitch in Vegas, and the fact that they didn't really even lose anybody, I'm going to go shot here.
Philk, are the Ducks the most improved team in the Pacific?
Shot. I still think it's Vegas. I still think it's Vegas. Just when you go and you add a guy like Mitch Marner, like even losing Nick Raw, it's not even, to me, that's a major upgrade overall. Their top nine is still one of the best top nines in the NHL right now. They could still make other moves if they need to clear out cap space or anything like that. And yeah, I know that they lost Pietrangelo, but I mean, honestly, Alex Pietrangelo, it's not the same guy that he was previously. Like, his health is, it's been not as good. Like, yeah, their defense is okay now. I mean, they still got Shea Theodore, Noah Hannafin, Brady McNabb, and Zach Whitecloud, who are all solid. Jeremy Lauzon is actually a real good fit there. I think Caden Korzak should play over Ben Hutton. That's just me. I think Caden Korzak has room to grow. But Pietrangelo is not the same guy he was a few years ago. And not that I think that, it's not a big loss, but he clearly has not been the same guy for a bit. So I do think they're still the most improved team, even if they lose him, because they'll have the cap space to go and get a replacement for him, and I don't think they're done.
Shot. I think it's still Vegas. Basically, they're the same team. They're going to lose Pietrangelo, but they're gonna have Mitch Marner next year. I'm looking around at the rest of the Pacific. I think maybe the Ducks might be the second best team that's improved. But I mean, the one thing I would worry about a little bit, just off the top of my head, although I did just check the numbers, Lucas Dostal, is he ready to be a number one? You look at him last year, he's got he had 54 games played. He was 23-23-7. 3.10 goals against and 903 save percentage. And in really, for 3/4 of the season, he was out playing Igor Shesterkin. Let's see if he can actually take that mantle, be a starting goaltender. If he does, the Ducks could be a really good team.
Yeah.
And really improve. I know a lot of people want to crown them. And of course, Joel Quenneville's there. They're going to start playing better and very quickly. But I just still got to go with Vegas. There's too much good with Vegas. All right, guys. That's the end of Big Apple Hockey's Bar Talk. We gauge our confidence on NHL topics based on our choice of drink. And I had this new intro for Big Apple Hockey Pickums, because now we're going to do our Pick'em segment. And a little inquisitive right there. And let's do some BAH Pickums. Oh, wait, sorry. I lost that one.
Highlighting that. Sorry. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you. And thank you to everybody that watched. And I mean, I can't believe Anthony and I had things we had to do in the afternoon. But man, Filk, that was 6.5 hours of coverage.
That was like a 7-hour stream, basically.
And Matt, yikes. And we had about 2,500 people watching. I mean, I jumped back on right after the Will Cooley sign. So there's so much that was getting covered yesterday, and not really much that was getting covered. So we had it in spades, and it was great to see all the guests that came on. All right, guys, let's start with this one. Better UFA defenseman signing. Anthony, is it Nate Schmidt or Brian Dumoulin? Brian Dumoulin, of course, who went to LA.
Nate Schmidt. And I say that because Nate Schmidt's coming off a Stanley Cup final where he was excellent in his role. I think he's a great skater. I think he's going to fit in Utah. No knock on Dumoulin, but based on, Schmidt's recent play, I'm going to say Nate Schmidt.
Phil, which one are you going to take right there?
It's pretty close to a wash for me. I mean, Brian Dumoulin is probably going to play bigger minutes.
Probably.
So he got a little more, and he got an extra year over Schmidt. Schmidt got paid a little more for a guy that's probably going to be on one of the bottom two pairings. I mean, I look at this Utah team right now, and their defense, I think they needed help. You added him to Sergachev, Dursey, Marino. Oli Mata, I'm not really high on. Maybe he could replace Oli Mata in the top 4 somewhere. But they're two different shots. That's the thing. So they're different sides. I like the depth addition, but I do think Dumoulin is being paid more to come in and to do a different role in LA, because their left side depth really isn't all that great. I mean, what is it? Mikey Anderson, who is decent. I like him. And then you have Brian Dumoulin, and then Joel Edmondson. That's really so. For me, I'm gonna go Dumoulin, just because I think that I know a lot of people are saying Nate Schmidt, but I think he's getting paid to be more of a depth guy. I think Dumoulin is being paid to be more of a top 4 feature. And I think he may end up being their number 1 left side guy when it's all said and done, possibly. It's between him and Anderson. And can Anderson handle those minutes? That's gonna be the thing at this point. I like Anderson, and he's got a big long-term deal, but can he handle first line minutes on that side? And I don't know if he can. Dumoulin has done that in the past. I don't think he's the same Brian Dumoulin anymore, but can he? Here's the thing: if you put him next to Drew Doughty, you could probably get the best out of Brian Dumoulin. You could probably get $4 million in value out of Brian Dumoulin. And I'm not saying Schmidt's bad value where he is in a lineup, but I think Brian Dumoulin's going to take on more, And I think if he's next to Doughty, I think Doughty can carry that pairing still. And I think you could get $4 million out of him. So I'm going to go Dumoulin.
I'm actually going to stick with Nate Schmidt on this one. I just think Utah, Sean Dursey, he's another guy. He needs to be healthy. And they lost Sergachev for a long chunk of the season. And those two were playing ungodly amount of minutes at the beginning of the year. That was last year. So if Schmidt can come in and he parlayed a prove-it contract into this 3-year deal. If he can be that defenseman that he's been the last few years, then I think it's Schmidt over Dumoulin. I don't know about Dumoulin only because he's just slightly a little bit longer on the tooth. So I have to go Nate Schmidt. Phil, which one had a better draft, the Flyers or the Predators?
Nashville gets Brady Martin at 5, ahead of Porter Martone, who I liked better as a prospect. They get Jacob Rombach at 35. Philadelphia gets Jack Murtaugh, who I had ahead. You know what? I'm going to go Philly. I think the first two rounds really kind of favor Philly at this point. And that's for me. I can only make such a decision because a lot of the later round picks are really crapshoots. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Philly for now because again, I like Brady Martin. I think he went a little too high. I think teams value the physicality a little too much in him. I get that there's room for growth offensively, but I think Martone's one of the most talented players in the class. Like I don't know how you pass up a guy like that. I really don't. So,
Anthony, who you got?
I'm gonna go Philly because I like Martone and Jack Nesbitt in the first round over Brady Martin.
Nesbitt too. Forgot about him.
Cameron Reed and Riker Lee. Nashville did well with those 3 picks, but I just like Philly and those 2 players more.
Anthony, can you just shed some light on Jack Nesbitt for me? Because we thought on draft night that was a little bit of a reach. But what do you get out of him?
Yeah, it was surprising. Philly traded up for him to get him, so they must really like him. I mean, I don't know a ton about him. I think they like his size, but yeah, no, they moved up for him. They saw a player that they liked, and they grabbed him.
All right. I am going to go with Philly because Porter Martone. I loved Porter Martone, and I knew Brady Martin was a riser. I'm still not really convinced about Will Horcroft, but we'll see about that one. And I want Nashville to have a good draft, but just wasn't too sure about that. So let's go with this one, guys. Number 3, Will Cooley next year with a brand new contract. Phil, I'll start with you. Over under 25 goals next year, or 25.5 if there's no push.
Oh, I'm going over. I'm going over. I think that I love this player. He's my favorite Ranger right now. So I guess I'm biased, but I mean, you have a guy that goes out there, scores 20 goals, and he did it like with a major cool-off period. Like he started hot early, and he was one of their more consistent players in like November, December, and so on. But I don't think he's going to have that cool-off period. I think he's going to be used as a top 6 forward. He's going to have some talented players around him. He was one of the league leaders in hits. Give me over 25 goals for Will Cooley.
Anthony, you think over or under on this one? He had 20 last year.
Yeah, 20 in 82 games. I'll go over. I think natural progression. He certainly could hit that number. I don't think he's going to score 35, but at the same time, 27, 28 counts as over 25. So that's where I think that, he'll likely be. So I'll say over.
I'm going to say over. It's a little begrudging, guys, because he had that hot start. Then they moved him all around the lineup after that, and they couldn't figure out who to play him with. Yeah, I'm going to go over. I think he could get that 6 goals. They're going to have to feature him. You're going to have to use him. And I don't want to hear about some idiot move that David Quinn does. I mean, I understand he's not the head coach anymore, but Colin Blackwell playing more minutes than Alexei Lafreniere in his rookie year was ridiculous. So putting him on the second line, I know, Mark, he scored too many goals. No. You played the number 1 overall draft pick. So that was just something that got me on that one. All right, Anthony, what's going to be a worse UFA deal? Tanner Jeannot or Cody Ceci?
I'm going to say Tanner Jeannot. I don't like the CC contract, but at least he's like a big defenseman, and defensemen are in high demand. But it's close. But I'll stick with Jeannot just for that reason.
Filk?
This is a hard one for me. I don't see why Jeannot got the AAV that he did. But yet, I don't understand why LA gave Cody Ceci that AAV when it's proven time and time again in different places that this guy is not a top 4 defenseman. And they're paying him like one. Like, they're not paying him third pairing money. And should he be playing over Brandt Clark? Because he's certainly not playing over Doughty on the right side. I know that. But if you're going to play him over Brandt Clark, that's just shit ass asset management. Piss off. I think that with that being said, yeah, he has one less year in his deal, but I just cannot. Yeah, this is like choosing Neth and Susie. It's so true. But I'm gonna have to go Jeannot because they gave a guy who really puts up 4th line numbers 5 years, and they paid him like a third liner when he's not a third liner and hasn't been a third line guy for quite some time. Look at this guy's numbers and where is that third line production outside of that rookie year? Where? Just 20 goals and 24 goals, unsustainable, 19.4 shooting percentage, 41 points. Then his next year, 18 points in Nashville, split between Nashville and Tampa. 2024, 14 points in 55 games. Last year, 13 points in 67 games. So he not only misses games, but he doesn't even put up the points that would justify that AAV. And his ice time has gone down every year since. 15.59 in that rookie year, 14.15, then 12.01 and 11.01. So nobody thinks that this guy is a third line forward, but yet Boston paid him like one. So yeah, I gotta go with Jeannot.
Yeah, Jeannot, slam dunk for me. I don't know why Tampa Bay gave up the package that they did to go get him. And then I don't know. I mean, I've been watching full confession, and I can't believe I'm going to make this analogy. I've been watching Love Island with my wife, and there's just people on that show.
That's a wife thing, dude. You don't.
But there's just people on that show. We just both scream at the TV and go, "Why do people keep choosing this person?" So, yeah, that's the way it is, and that's the way I feel about Tanner Jeannot. He should have been voted off the island a long time ago, or just
and one highlight reel worthy self alley-oop.
I mean, it just come on.
That was mine, by the way, so that you can't even blame Mark. That's me.
Yeah, no. You could. There might be one you could blame me on, guys, because this has been a little bit of talk around the league right now. I need to preface this because it's been people talking about it. Anthony, better goaltending option for next year: Stuart Skinner or Carter Hart for the Edmonton Oilers.
Wait, what?
That's been talked about.
By who?
A couple of the writers that are on there saying that if Carter Hart is found,
I haven't
that it breaks.
I haven't seen that. I haven't heard that anywhere. What right are you?
I've heard some people say there's. I'll find the tweets on it, but it's been talked about.
I follow every credible insider. If that
I
was
have
accurate,
not
you would have heard that from somebody.
Wait,
okay.
Wait,
I'm not making this one up.
Weeks?
Kevin
It
Weeks.
might have been Kevin Weeks that said
you
it.
mentioned that?
Yeah, Kevin. Whoa.
Thank
really?
you. Yeah.
I didn't see. All right. Well, I hadn't seen it anywhere. That's
I
interesting.
haven't seen anything about that, but good Lord, stay the hell away from Carter Hart.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta go Skinner here. I mean, Carter Hart hasn't played in some time, and then not only that, based on what he was involved with, I mean, the look of that would be terrible. And listen, I'm someone if you get proven innocent,
Not guilty.
Not guilty. Like
just to clarify,
who am I to say okay? Well, so I don't know, but I mean the Oilers would need to do some PR spin on that one to handle that. But yeah, I gotta go Skinner.
Aside from the PR spin, guys, and aside from the distraction that would cause, and trust me, Stuart Skinner is his own distraction. Carter Hart is a distraction all on its own. I'm not going to get into the particulars of everything that happened with that. Just aside from all that, he hasn't played a game since January 20th, 2024. I mean, you get further and further away from the net. You can't guarantee that this guy whose career, let's be honest about something else, because the people that are kind of like a proponent for this, let's see, he was 887 in 2021, the 21 season, because it was all the games were played in 2021. But then it was 905, 907, 906. So he was like steady. Like he really wasn't. He was good. He wasn't great. I understand the Flyers weren't that great back then either, but there were other guys that were ready to take his job back then. The Oilers are going for a Stanley Cup. Don't put yourself in this mess. That's just my take on that. And it might be a little bit lame to say it like that, guys, but I don't know. I think everybody else, yeah. We naming Huey Lewis songs?
So no, I was making American Psycho references because Jacob's profile picture is Patrick.
Oh, okay.
And that's my top 3 favorite movie for me, American Psycho. Absolutely love Christian Bale in that.
Christian Bale was great in that, and the best part about it is he one of his victims was, wait, how do I say it? Oh, any movie where Jared Leto is disposed of, that's good.
I was gonna say that's definitely
my favorite part of Fight Club is when he gets
Paul Allen, Jared Leto, Willem Dafoe also really all right. Get a goddamn job, Al.
That movie was just so off the wall. And then did you know that they tried to make a second one with Mila Kunis and William Shatner?
No, stop. That's one you can't do. No, just please no. Cult classic, and you just don't remake those.
By the way, just to say this, David, Edmonton isn't completely Siberia. First off, you got Connor McDavid that's over there, so he's going to get lots of attention. They're going for a Stanley Cup. That's going to get lots of attention. And Edmonton's the 6th most valuable franchise in the NHL right now. Can't hide them.
Peter Bow on Twitter, Chris Drury wouldn't comment if he and Artemi Panarin's camp have started extension talks. Panarin has won. Yeah.
Oh, Joe Graves is saying that there was a
A
American
book,
Psycho
the book
book
has
sequel.
a sequel. I don't know how you remake. You do another American Psycho. It's just
Well,
the sequels almost never live up to the originals unless you're talking about like Terminator 2 or The
or
Godfather.
Aliens. There's a few of them.
There's a few, but you're very rare air we're talking about here.
Anthony, any news around the league? Any word on Ehlers or anybody?
No, nothing right now.
All quiet.
Pretty quiet, yeah.
Very good one.
Just wait and see what Ehlers does. I mean, he's the last big name out there. I mean, we talked about some of the other guys out there: Grizzlick, Beauvillier, Burns, Orlov. But yeah, he's the biggest guy, and he's certainly taking his time. We'll see where he lands, but my money would be on either one of those Washington, Carolina, like I said, maybe Tampa, maybe Colorado. I would doubt he's going to sign out of like a team that comes out of nowhere, but I mean, who knows? I mean, I would imagine you're looking at a 7-year, 7 times. I got to assume he gets at least 8.
Yeah, I was going to say 56 million over 7 years sounds.
Yeah,
sounds.
I'm kind of shocked that it's taking this long on this. I mean, does he think he's Brad Richards or something? Like,
well, he's the best. He's easily the best forward available. After Marner was off the board, and he's the best forward available. And I'm sure he had a ton of teams, and he's just taking his time with it. I don't see anything wrong with it.
Well, fair enough to say it like that. I mean, Pius Suter also kind of.
Yes, he's out there. Yeah, he's gonna be a good option.
I mean, there's still some players out there. It's just, it's leaving me scratching my head. It's like, guys, make a decision, get it over with.
Yeah.
Also, because I just know for a fact, because everybody likes to mess with me, that as soon as we end the stream and I'm about to drop off my laundry, that's when they're going to sign, and I'm unavailable. So it'll be like, oh, thank you guys. All right.
Well, I mean, you don't really need to be available for it unless he's signed with the Rangers or Islanders. So I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah, true. This isn't like if Mitch Marner, the trade happened. Like,
yeah,
right when I went to work.
Even if he signed with the Hurricanes, it would be nice for us to be on when it happened, but it's not like an instance where if it happens when we're not on for another team, you don't have to come in.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to really like go and like crazy over like guys who aren't with us. Like the Ehlers is another story. Like it's just I wouldn't go too crazy.
All right. Phil, if you want to make that a full screen thing, everybody, we got the Puckdoku ready to go. Your top line is the Anaheim Ducks, the Minnesota Wild, and 50 goalie wins in their career. And your y-axis is the San Jose Sharks, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Chicago Blackhawks.
For San Jose, Wade Flaherty. I think he played long enough to get 50 wins. Oh no, way short.
Did not?
Sorry, way short.
Okay, well, obviously Jeff Hackett.
Wins. Yeah, Jeff Hackett would be one.
Steve Shields.
Shields, I think, got enough.
I'll get Steve Shields.
Chris Terreri.
Terreri would be another one that would be.
Terreri would be a good one. Do you think Terreri would be forgotten enough?
I don't know. Ed Belfour was there for a very short time, but I feel like that's a very obvious name.
That's going to be a popular answer. Kelly Rudy. That's going to be too popular because he's the first goalie.
That's going to be another popular answer because he's a hockey personality.
I think, you know what? I forgot the guy we just said. Shields, I think, is going to come up. But what was the other guy we said other than Shields?
Terrari.
I think Chris Terrari is your answer right here. Chris Terrari, 1%, boys.
Oh,
So
okay.
I already probably blew that for us. We'll check that one
That's
again
fine.
later.
50 wins in Pittsburgh. Trying to think of who could do that.
Pittsburgh, 50 wins.
Barrazzo's too obvious. Don't even do that.
Yeah.
Reggett, I feel like, would be too obvious.
Yes.
Yeah.
Laline would be too obvious.
Did Sebastian Caron have 50 wins? Probably not.
I don't think so.
Sebastian Caron, I don't believe he got to 50. I don't think he came
No,
close.
he didn't.
And I actually thought was he
Darth Snow?
Garth Snow, was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was on the Pittsburgh Penguins before he went to the Islanders.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Garth
right.
Snow's got it.
He was there in 2001. Wow. Thought about him there.
Which, by the way, I would throw Sebastian Caron in this one.
Jimmy Wade didn't play there, did he? No, he didn't even get 50 wins.
Did Garth Snow have 50 wins? Yeah.
Yeah, Garth Snow definitely had 50 wins.
Yeah, let's go with Garth Snow. I don't think anybody remembers him as a Flyer, as a Penguin. And we're right, 0.6%.
Yeah.
50 wins in Chicago. Hackett is too obvious.
Correct.
No Esposito because that's way too freaking obvious.
Dominic Hasek is also obvious.
No Dominic Hasek.
Mark Fitzpatrick.
Did Fitzpatrick get 50 wins then? Oh, yeah, he did. Yeah, Mark Fitzpatrick is probably a good one.
That's a great one, I think. Mark Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, it's probably a good one.
Mark Fitzpatrick, 0.4.
Okay.
All right.
I know one for Chicago and Minnesota.
What do you got?
Former Ranger Brad Brown.
Brad Brown. All right. For this one, I was thinking Sebastian Caron over here.
No, I was thinking I think Roman Aksuita. Yeah, I think he played for both of those teams. I think he played for Pittsburgh as well.
I'll double check that one.
Yeah, he did.
Yes, he did. Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
That's definitely a 0%er.
Yeah. 0.3.
0.3, yeah. So that's what we're talking about, Anthony.
How was that not 0.0?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's what I want to know is how that's not a 0.0. Like, that's one of those obscure names that I know. Like, Anthony and I can go back and forth with obscure names for hockey players like all day, and that's one of the guys that's going to come up. Did Robin Bawa play in San Jose too? Because I know he was with Anaheim.
Oh,
yeah, he did. Robin Bawa.
All right. You're gonna have to spell that one for me, Filk.
Bawa is the last name.
Robin Bawa, that's San Jose, Anaheim.
Yeah.
I swear to God.
How is that a 1.0%?
I don't know.
How? What the? That's one of the most obscure names you could come across.
I don't know if there's any more torture
playing this.
I don't know if there's any more torture that exists than being a Mets fan.
God.
As they just gave up a grand slam.
Yes, I understand that, David. We all know that, but it's just like how this guy is somebody that people actually remember is what I don't get.
Yes.
Is Andre Zayuzin going to be too obvious for San Jose, Minnesota?
Yeah, I would say I would probably.
I think that might be like a 2 or 3%er, right? Yes, I no, not by saying it, by entering it would raise the percentage.
Andre Ziozent, yeah, maybe. I think that could be a good one.
What about yeah, I mean James Shepard.
James Shepard, I think, might be a little more obvious than we think.
I'm a little bit surprised. I thought Bob Bugner played on San Jose as well as was there. Or sorry, not San Jose. Yeah.
No.
Well, we had that covered anyway. Chicago and Anaheim. This is why I put in the time limit, Anthony.
Steve Thomas played for Anaheim?
Yeah,
Yes,
he
he
did,
did.
but I feel like that's going to be fairly obvious.
Yeah.
I know. I think actually I'm not sure because he didn't play for Chicago.
No, he did play.
We already do Pittsburgh, Anaheim.
Yeah, that's Roman Aksuida.
Okay, I would have gone Sean Antoski. Yeah. Joffrey Lupul didn't play for Chicago, did he?
No,
he didn't. Troy Loney? Did Troy Loney play for Chicago?
No, he was Rangers, Anaheim, and Islanders, and Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
No, Sebastian Bordeaux didn't play for fucking San Jose. Fuck, thought he did.
This is a little bit of a tough one trying to get it all.
Yeah, because I don't know, the combination of San Jose and Minnesota for whatever reason is an odd one.
It's almost like they're pointing towards Brent Burns because of the trade between Minnesota and.
Well, that's why I said James Shepard,
Brent Burns and Devin Setaguchi in that one.
Dominic Moore. Did Dominic Moore play for Minnesota?
I don't think he played for either of those teams, actually.
No, he never played for either one of the teams. That's actually one of the rarities.
Actually, Dominic Moore did play for Minnesota.
Okay.
And and he played for San Jose too. I'm not crazy. You guys telling me he didn't play for either.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking about Chicago. So San Jose. All right, Dominic Moore.
All right, let's try it.
Dominic Moore, 0.8%.
Okay, good call, Anthony. Minnesota and Pittsburgh. Oh, I know one. Steve McKenna, former Ranger.
Which one?
Steve McKenna.
But where?
For Minnesota and Pittsburgh.
Got it. All right.
Yeah, I said that.
No, I wanted to make sure I have it right. Steve McKenna, 0.5%. So we're still we need to score one. We just need Chicago and Anaheim.
Hold on. I think I actually have a guy. I want to. Did Jason Krog play for Chicago?
I don't think so.
Because I know he was in their minor league system at one point. Because he played for No, he didn't. He played for the Chicago Wolves when they were Chicago's AHL team. That's why I thought that. I know that for sure.
Keith Carney played for both teams?
Yeah, but he's going to be fair. I think he's going to be more obvious.
I think Steve Thomas is probably the answer because I think everybody forgets Steve Thomas.
That's going to be too obvious. Telling you.
Okay.
Too obvious. Don't do it.
No, we're not doing it. We're trying to think of somebody else. I always try to answer Terry Yake for everything.
For Chicago, and I think
how about Bob Corkum?
Ooh, if Corkum, I think he did play for Chicago. I know he played for Buffalo, but he played for Chicago.
He played for the Devils. Played for the Sabres. Never played for the Blackhawks.
No, did not play for the Blackhawks. No. Damn, that was a good call to bring him up, though, Mark.
Yeah, he's a good one to always go back to. Him and Terry Yake were the goal scorers in the in NHL '94 for the Ducks.
Sean Van Allen played for Chicago? No, he didn't. He played for Ottawa. I know he was an Ottawa guy, but he didn't play. Bill Holder would have been a San Jose Anaheim one, but
Yeah, forget it. Bill Holder over there.
Antoine Vermette would be too obvious. Too obvious. Way, way, way too obvious. Did Dave Carpa play for Chicago? No, he played for. I know he played for Carolina after the Rangers, but no, before the Rangers. Sorry.
I got somebody.
Who?
His name is Sammy Paulson.
I think that's going to be a little too obvious.
Your feet is the rainbow.
Okay.
We're not next to each other.
But I mean, unless you remember the '97 Bruins, I really don't remember Sammy Paulson.
Sammy Paulson was a known Anaheim Duck, Mark. He was a part of their. He was a key part of their finals run in 03.
Okay.
Ooh, I think I might have one. Chad Kilger.
Oh, the guy that was in the centerpiece of the Solani trade?
Yeah, he played for Chicago years later.
There we go. Chad Kilger. Still unique to score a 1, boys. Chad Kilger was at a 0.9. Let's just check one thing real quick.
Check the Terrari one. That's really the one.
That's the one. I still think Sammy Paulson was going to be a low one.
Nope, he wasn't a
1.9. You're right, Phil.
1.9. Yep, told you.
Steve Thomas at 2.8 and Keith Carney at 2%.
There too. Told you on all three.
All right, guys. Yeah. Phil, you had that one. Let's see. Chris Terrari was at 1.1%.
Aiden Hill
was the only other choice.
Wow. Okay, so then we got the second lowest answer. Fair.
Yeah,
that's fine.
So you couldn't do that. All right, guys, we're going to the pyramid.
Oh God. So Stanley Cup winner, 50-point season, 1,000 assists in his career. All right.
What's this one?
I was gonna say, yeah. What is that?
Click the first box. It might tell you what the second one is. Oh, not yet.
All right, first box. 50-point season for anybody. Kelly Kissio.
Tony McKegney.
Tony McKegney. Let's go in.
Tony McKegney. It doesn't matter.
Might need Kissio at some point.
All right,
okay, this one. All right, 100 playoff points in their NHL career.
Why? I had a feeling that this was going towards Alex Delvecchio because he passed away yesterday. But 1,000 assists, Delvecchio never hit that mark.
Yeah,
so 100 playoff points in his
Claude Billgren
career.
is a. I don't think he had a 50-point season though. Claude Billgren had 53 career points in a 46-point season. So you are very close there, Steve Survival.
100 playoff points in their career. That's not a lot of players.
No, that's not. And it's got to be a guy. Oh, yeah. Doesn't have to be.
I mean,
Dino
Ciccarelli coming to mind. I'm just checking that.
I think he is a part of that list.
Because he played forever, so why not? I have Dino Ciccarelli at 118 playoff points.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, they're not thinking Dino at this. Still zero.
Still zero.
750 games played.
John Tonelli.
John Tonelli would probably be a
let's
good.
double check his playoff points.
Yeah, Tonelli definitely had 100 playoff points. He had to have.
Definitely did.
He's got it.
But shadow of a doubt.
But here's the issue. So now you're going to need a Stanley Cup winner, though. So hold on. Don't put that.
Yep. Bringing it back.
Give me 1 second. Let me just check something real quick.
Well, I mean, you could even go Jerome McGinley right here.
That's going to take the uniqueness up.
Right, but some people would use that right there. Tonelli would keep the uniqueness down. So that's another thing about the strategy on this one. Let's just make sure because he did play in the dead puck era. Still only at 68, by the way.
750 games played. You could. Oh wait, 100. You said 100 playoff points, right? That we needed.
Yeah, they need 100 playoff points.
Lenny McDonald? No, falls short. Damn it.
Okay.
All right, go Tonelli. It's fine.
Okay, but we're gonna need a Stanley Cup winner after that.
Nah. Hold on. Let me see.
Brendan Shanahan get 100.
Brendan Shanahan would actually. Brendan Shanahan would fit all this, but I feel like that's going to be obvious, and you're going to need him for like Detroit, if that.
Okay, well, we're going to need Steve Yzerman later.
Luke Robitaille.
I have a feeling Steve Yzerman might be the only choice.
Might be the only choice for this.
Okay.
You could.
Luke Robitaille's got 127 playoff points.
Yeah, I was going to say Luke Robitaille.
And then go John Tonelli.
Paul Coffey, too.
All right, so we're going to go Luke Robitaille here. John Tonelli here.
Oh, before.
And now you still have Shanahan you could use right here, but you said Ted Lindsay.
What about Larry Murphy?
I love Larry Murphy right here.
Larry Murphy, I think, definitely has 100 playoff points.
Or Paul Coffey.
Paul Coffey, too. It's another one.
Let's just make sure they didn't have to win.
Larry Murphy has 152 playoff points. Paul Coffey has 100. It definitely has over 100 playoff points.
Pat Verbeek would go here.
No, he wouldn't.
I don't think he has 100 playoff points.
I don't think he has 100 playoff points.
He played in the 80s.
Yeah, but he played on the New Jersey Devils in the 80s. No, 62 playoff points.
Really? All right. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad. Wow.
Well, you could use Coffey or Larry Murphy there.
Yeah, I think Larry Murphy's the better one to use right here. Thoughts?
Okay, let's see. Yeah, go.
Larry Murphy, we got a unique score of 1.
And it's Yzerman. Got to be Yzerman.
It's Yzerman. It's only Yzerman.
It's got to be Yzerman. I don't think there's anybody else.
Unique to score 60. Okay, here we go, guys. So Yzerman, we did have Gordie Howe and Paul Coffey we could have used right there.
Oh, shit, yeah. Damn. Wow.
Yzerman, again, was the top pick right here where
we fucked up.
We went Larry Murphy 1.1, but Brian Rafalski would have been a good choice. Or Johnny Busick. Let's see.
Wait, what one was that for Rafalski?
That was Detroit Stanley Cup champion, 100 playoff points.
Rafalski had 100 playoff points?
Yep. Wow. I'm actually just as shocked as you are. I'm looking to find John Tonelli on this list right now. He should be near the bottom. And yeah, Anthony, he's one of the 0.0 guys.
Yeah.
Jeff Courtnall, Boom Boom Jeffrion, Ken Linsman, Rafalski, and Bobby Smith. Steve Larmer as well, by the way. And Alexei Kovalev joins that list. That's a shocker for me. And then, of course, here there's a much longer list.
So apparently, Jeff Courtnall. Yeah, not Russ, but Jeff Courtnall definitely has a bunch of playoff points.
Yeah. So
Cody Glass, 2 years, $2.5 million in New Jersey.
Yeah.
I mean, is Nikolai Ehlers a real needle mover?
Well, what do you mean? He's a player that could score 50 points. So, I mean,
yeah, it's just I think he's a good player, but
speaking of him, Frank Saravalli says, which is obvious, but I'm focusing on two teams, either Washington or Carolina.
Who, Ehlers?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nothing new.
No, that's why I said it's not surprising, but he was just saying,
yeah,
seems like those are the two teams.
As Rich is saying right here, saw Dylan Rubeck, an interview at Rangers camp. think he's even ready to crack the lineup, Phil?
I wouldn't rush him. If he comes up and he blows them away, sure. But I wouldn't rush him. He looked good in Hartford last year, though. I will say that.
All right. Well, that's always good to hear.
I mean, I do think that he might end up being the next player that gets called up from Hartford. But
Dave's asking right here, do you think Chicago can make a run at Ehlers?
No, I don't see him wanting to go there.
It seems like it's Washington or Carolina.
Yeah,
So.
I don't think Chicago even wants to do that.
Anthony,
I think Chicago's okay with being bad for another year.
Getting into what you said earlier, it's not only blasé the day of the trade deadline, the free agent signing. It's also kind of blasé the day after.
Well, I mean, when the free agents class on day one is basically nothing. The following days are going to be too. I mean, there's no one. Like I said, there's really no one left.
And I think there's a lot of teams that don't want to do something stupid because you got the free agent class next year, which could be
but even that you say it every year. The free agent class next year looks good now, but I'm sure it's gonna be. I mean, it'll probably be a little better than this one, but even then, by the time next year comes around, a lot of these names are gonna be off the board. So, like, I don't think Eichel's leaving Vegas now that Mitch Marner's there. Well, I mean, why would he want to leave unless they horribly, disrespected him in an offer? I don't see him going anywhere.
Which team is going to lose the Alexander Georgiev lottery and sign him?
I don't know. I don't care.
And also, too, a lot of these other guys that are left, some of them are like PTO candidates. I mean, there's not many guys left that are going to guaranteed to sign a contract right now.
Like Jack Roslovic is unsigned.
Yeah.
What is Jack Roslovic going to get more? Where is he going to go? Where he's going to get more than $4 million?
Yes, I'm saying. He'll sign a contract, but no team is rushing to do it on day two. So
yeah.
I don't know. I think the offseason news cycle is going to die a little earlier than it normally does. So.
Which we could kind of use a little bit more because we need to stretch this out for the next 8 weeks.
Well, it's part of the course.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to have some summer content that we're going to be throwing out there. We got a video that Phil did on the number 1 overall draft picks. We're hoping to have up very soon. And other things we're going to try to get up there.
Yeah. So
Giroux re-signed with Ottawa.
Yeah, we didn't warn you about Jack Roslovic or anything. It's not like the Rangers fans didn't try to warn you guys about Jack Roslovic. Same way we're trying to warn you about Keandre Miller. Like, I keep seeing stuff that Keandre Miller is physical according to Carolina fans. I don't know what you're watching. I really don't know what you're watching, but that's not the defenseman that you're getting. Like, maybe you've seen 1 or 2 clips where he throws a check on a guy and he maybe ragdolls a guy around, but that is not Keandre Miller on a regular basis. Like, I hope you're not buying into that.
Yeah, let's try to find.
Like, I'm looking at this, there's like 56 free agents left, and like obviously Ehlers, Pius Suter, Grzelcyk.
Anthony, where did you find this list? Because I was trying to find it myself.
If you go to Puckpedia and then just click free agents, it'll list the free agents that are left. Cool. Like Grzelcyk will probably get a contract. Roslovic. I mean, Brent Burns if he decides to play. Maybe Gustav Nyquist, Orlov will. I think Beauvillier will. But some of these other guys left on here. I mean, like, is anyone like Vrana and LeBlanc and it's just a lot of guys here. Brock McGinn, Daniel Sprong.
Grzelcyk. I would like Grzelcyk. I mean, Orlov, if he came super cheap, I would take Orlov. Because they need a puck mover. I think I'd rather Grzelcyk than Orlov, to tell you the truth. But, I mean, Orlov's a bigger guy. who's a really good skater. So,
since last year, Keandre Miller threw 107 hits. Dmitry Orlov, who we don't consider a physical defenseman, threw 101. That's if you credit him with a hit. I mean, Oliver Ekman-Larsson had more hits.
Yeah,
Neil Pionk had more hits. I'm just trying to reason this, guys.
I'd rather Orlov than Susie. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
It's not saying a lot, but I'll take him over Susie any day of the friggin' week.
Like I don't know. Not really. I mean, I guess like got like Mason Appleton, 10 goals, bottom like a fourth line center. He'd be a good addition, but
he's a good depth guy.
I wouldn't mind Mason Appleton. I mean, you could try to. I think if you bring him in to try to play third line center, I think that's not a good call if you're the Rangers. I mean, I get they would look at 2023-24 and that 36-point season, but I don't think he's replicating that. I think he's a good fourth line center. He's got some size.
Like, again, just to put this in perspective, Will Borgen played 294 games, 639 hits. Keandre Miller, 368 games, 661.
I don't think you're going to have to pay someone to get rid of Susie, especially with some of these contracts that are going around. I mean, Ryan Lindgren getting 4x4 from 4x4.5 from Seattle. Like, what is that? And I don't think Lindgren is all that much better than Susie.
Right. And that's just a rough one. That's that. By the way, Anthony, that was another contract. Ryan Lindgren, 4 years. What was it? 4.5 on the AAV.
Too high. Way too high for him.
That's. Oh my God.
Why?
That's a guy whose physical presence really took a toll on his body.
Yeah.
And you credit him for being a warrior, but at the end of the day, you can't do the job anymore. Yeah, and Orlov, what's he done after he left Washington?
Yeah.
I mean, he had that nice run with Boston, and that got him that contract, that $7 million AAV one that he had. But I wouldn't touch him anywhere near that.
The thing, if you get Ehlers, I would imagine that's coming with some sort of no trade. So,
yeah,
I would love Nick Leddy. Like, if St. Louis could retain like $2 million on that, I would absolutely trade for Nick Leddy, because I think he could come in and be like a real good third pairing guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he still skates really well. So I mean, I think that would be good.
Yeah, I mean, all you need him to do is to be able to move the puck, like, and just have him just get the puck out of the zone. That's really what you need him to do. I wish I could pair him with Schneider on the third pairing. Yeah, you have a good. Just let Morrow play second pair right hand shot, and then or right side.
Speaking of Mason Appleton, he just signed with the Red Wings. 2 years, $2.9 million.
Not bad. A little high for a fourth line center, but not bad.
Yeah,
not terrible by any means.
Good player though. I would take him on my team any day.
Get rid of Susie. Go get a guy to play left side, and then go get Nick Leddy on like the cheap. And I think I'm okay with that.
If you look at the Red Wings, we talked about Steve Yzerman. I don't think he made his team any better. I mean, John Gibson's an upgrade. He brought in Jacob Bernard Docker, James Van Riemsdyk, who I think is shot, and then now Mason Appleton. And he lost Mrazek, Tarasenko, Jeff Petrie, and Alex Lyon. So I don't think Detroit's any better. They're probably just more of the same.
I think they're slightly better. You upgraded big time in net.
Yeah, that's fair, actually.
I mean, and I'll take JVR over Tarasenko at this point too.
We're actually getting in the dreads that I'm even going to bring this up. What about Luke Cunnin as the third line center?
You know what? That's a good one, actually. I like Luke Cunnin.
I didn't know how that was going to go. That's why I prefaced it like that.
Yeah, he's put up more closer to fourth line numbers. I mean, everybody looked at him with Minnesota in 2019-20 and thought he was going to like break out, and he's never really kind of broken out of that. Like he was a high pick for Minnesota in 2016, but he's more of a fourth line center. Maybe in the right guys on the wings, he could be your third line center, but he's definitely a good bottom six player.
Yeah, because again, you look at the physical presence he'll bring. First, I'm not going to say good at faceoffs because he's only around 44% for his career, but he was 46 when he was with San Jose. That was his most recent team. I'm not counting his short stint with Columbus. But you're talking about a guy that was averaging about 180 hits a season when he was playing. And yeah, you talk about the big year in Nashville where he had hits.
I mean, he had 1 year of 187 and another of 223.
Yeah.
Otherwise, his hits. I mean, like, yeah, he's physical. Yeah, I agree with you on the face-off front. Like, those numbers are not good, but I mean, to answer this question, if you're looking at Morrow on the right side, get a solid left-handed guy to come in on that second pairing, and then go get Leddy on the left-hand side, and then Schneider would play the right-hand side along with Morrow. Like, I know that's a lot to ask from Morrow, but yeah, I mean, you're going to need cheap defenders in there.
I like this comment. Steve Yzerman replaced Patrick Kane with 1 year older Patrick Kane.
Kane's there. Yeah, I mean, he re-signed, so I mean, I don't know how much you're going to get out of Kane. If you get 50 points out of him, I'd say that's a win. Like, he's going to be on your power play, and that's where he's going to really kind of do his damage.
I think I would rather play net without any padding against Ali Afridi, Ray Bork, Zdeno Chara, and I'll give one for the old timers, Reed Larson, than have to watch a Mets game right now. Oh my Lord.
Okay.
Ugh.
I'm not even worried about the Yankees right now. Like, it just, there's so much wrong with that team.
I mean, and by the way, I'm happy John Gibson finally got moved and he doesn't have to hear his name get mentioned in trade talks pretty much ever again. But it's almost like they did it too late. Like, I don't know if that's enough to save Detroit.
I mean, yeah, they need help in goal. They need other help. I mean,
and is John Gibson at this point in career somebody that can help him?
I think the reason they're doing that though is because they're going to look to improve, and they're going to look to use that 2020. I mean, they've got 2 picks in 2026 now. So they have their own, and then they're going to have a later round pick, and they're going to look to give that up probably to improve. And yeah, that's going to be a later round pick, but that's going to be for a player that'll help them.
You signed Vladislav Gavrikov, who's going to fit a lot better, for $500,000 less than what they're paying Keandre Miller in Edmonton. Carolina, it might as well be Edmonton, in Carolina for the next 8 years. Like, I mean, I think the Rangers made out in that.
And yeah, I don't like that contract at all. And I've been saying for 2 years now that you couldn't give him that long-term deal.
Nope.
Let someone else take the risk on him. If he pans out, he pans out. But everything that goes wrong with this guy is up here. It's all up there. It runs out of position way too often. Not something you're going to blame on a partner. Okay, Trouba was bad. We get it. You put him with Schneider, he was still not good. I mean, after a while, like they played well together in 23-24. They tried that again this year. It wasn't as good this year.
Well, then, actually, 23-24, they didn't play well together. That was the President's Trophy.
Him and Schneider played well together.
That's who played well, yeah. And then they tried to do it again.
They tried to do it again this year, and it didn't work.
No. And then it's one of those things you can't constantly keep going, hey,
it's a boy that cried wolf situation.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like when and there are a lot of fans in this fan base that will do anything to deflect away from Keandre Miller. Oh, it's Keandre. It's not Keandre's fault. It's this guy's fault. It's that guy's fault. The center did this wrong. No, like Miller is literally running out of position, chasing guys at the top of the zone way too often.
It's not
Phil, doesn't finish the play.
I don't want to demonetize the video again, but I bring up that Dallas play over and over again. He takes the puck away from Lindgren, goes to the other end of the ice, basically waits for the forechecker to get on top of him. Sam Steele deflects the pass. It gets away from him. I mean, you don't skate to open area and then go, oh no, what am I going to do? Well, then try to make a buddy pass.
Yeah, and then that pairing ended up being disastrous again. Like it was proven time and time again over 3 different coaches that pair was disastrous.
Yeah. And never mind, yes, once again.
And that's not and that's not playing to Carolina's strengths. He doesn't think quick enough to be able to make those plays. Like you want him to make pinches. His judgment with pinching is not good. It's not. And trust me, Dealey, I've been playing defense for over 20 years. Like, he goes for pinches that he has less than a 40% chance on. He's not pinching in 50-50 situations and then using his speed and his reach to his advantage. He's pinching in 30-70 situations going the other way, and it doesn't work out for him. So, like, you're gonna need, like, someone rock solid next to him. Like, I mean, like a real solid defenseman. And you're not going to put him next to Slavin. You're not going to play him on his off wing and play him next to Slavin. It's just not going to work.
No, and that's not a good idea. Not
no, because Gostisbehere gives you the offense that Keandre just doesn't give you.
Yeah. Keandre's offensive side never flourished. I know he had a 40-point season at one point.
22-23 was when he had 40 point. Yeah.
That ain't the guy he is.
Chatfield, I would say, is a little better defensively. Here's the issue with Miller. He'll give you a month or two of like real good play, but the next 2 months are going to be garbage.
He's still extremely careless with the puck. And again, I could bring up the Matt Boldy and Marco Rossi goal. I don't know which one got it in the end. I'd have to look at the play. That he gathers in the puck in his own end with 2 forwards in front of him, throws a blind backhander up the middle, and then it just goes down low. It's shot real quick, and that one either went in or it was knocked in after sitting on the goal line, which it might as well just be the goal against on him, which it was. And some people wanted to go to the goals against that when Miller was out.
It's not that he develops slower. It's just he grew up playing forward and got turned into a defenseman probably about 10 years ago. And like he still makes the same mistakes that he made in his rookie year. Like you're waiting for this guy to develop and give you something more. Like I don't know if it's coming. I don't. Like maybe he ends up like fitting in Carolina and he ends up being like decent there, but I don't think he's gonna live up to that AAV. I would have liked him at like 5.5 at most, but I have been talking about not giving him this type of contract for a very, very long time. And
as was I.
Yeah, it's just I have a feeling you're not going to like this contract. That's just my 2 cents on it. If you're looking for a physical defenseman, that he's not it. He'll get angry every now and then, and he'll start playing physically. When he's on, he controls the gaps very well and uses his stick effectively. But forwards. And I'm going to stop you here, forwards, because it's the forwards that they can't develop. The defense have been
the defense they've developed left and right.
Like that's been proven. About like the development, fine, like, but it's forwards that have not been developed well in New York, like Kako, Lafreniere. Hedl showed signs of good development, and for what he was and where he was picked, I mean, he kind of gave you what he can be with that 20-goal, 40-point season. But
Islanders signed Emil Heineman to a two-year deal.
Yeah, nothing major.
Yeah.
I think Carolina needs to I think they need to retool and get rid of a lot of guys there. I would move on from Svechnikov and try to get what you could get from him, because I think I just think you've seen the best of him already.
Also, he's another guy. Health is never an issue. Consistency is an issue. We can go on with this for a while. There's a lot
is an issue, though.
Because he'll start to get on a tear, and then the next thing you know, he's out for the next 2 weeks, and then he doesn't come back hot or anything like that.
64 games in 2023, 59 games in 2024. I mean, missed 10 games this year. I would move on from this guy. I just don't think he's worth the AAV he's getting. Like, you paid him based off of that. The 2 years you paid him off of were 2019-20 and 21-22, where he had 30 goals and 69 points. And if everyone was like, oh, wow, he's really turning the corner. And then 55 points in 64 games next year, 52 and 59 in 23-24. But again, hurt. Like, I just don't think he's worth I don't think he's worth it.
Yeah. Hey, Phil, I'm going to start the music. We'll start. We'll take a couple more questions.
That's fine.
Get us out of here today. Guys, your troopers being with us this afternoon, 2 hours, 23 minutes. That's like a drop in the bucket for us.
They developed Fox. I mean, Lindgren exceeded expectations. It's just his body broke down.
Well, if you go back to the 2010s,
Jones the 3rd round pick. I'm not even gonna really cry over that, because it's a 3rd round pick that was overhyped by this fan base.
But if you go back to the 2010s, Phil, you still got McDonough, who was an also-ran at the time. Like, nobody paid attention to him. Comes to the Rangers, and he was
he was a known prospect.
Still not as good as what people were saying. Or he was a known prospect, like, out of Wisconsin, but still, he was the throw-in.
2nd rounder. I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and.
But Brady Shea was
Brady Shea ended up doing more offensively at the NHL level than he did at the below levels.
Yeah, and he was on a trajectory, and then him and Quinn did really mesh. Dan Girardi developed with the Rangers. Anton Strawman developed with the Rangers.
Dan Girardi
Stahl,
was
obviously
also an undrafted player. And
Yeah.
Strawman was a guy that Strawman revived his career in New York. Like he became a player in New York.
There's a lot of people that didn't think Ryan Lindgren was going to be that great at the NHL level. They put him with Adam Fox.
They got more out of Lindgren.
Yeah, they squeezed everything they could. It's not like we're talking about Ryan O'Gara, who was here and gone before you know
Rob O'Gara.
Rob O'Gara. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, massive.
I think I played with a Ryan O'Gara. No, that was Mike. He was really good.
Rob O'Gara.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I'd be surprised if Rob remembers his name by now. But just saying, he wasn't in the league that long. All right, I made a joke. That's all. Demonetized. Anyway, this is what happens after 2 hours and 30 minutes of talking, guys. So,
yeah, I mean, you went and you gave him that massive contract. I wouldn't say he was great in Carolina. I mean, he was
great for the Canes.
I mean,
I wouldn't say he was great in Carolina.
I wouldn't say he was
great
great
for them.
though. Like he was okay.
Was it 2 years ago when he was third on the Canes in scoring?
I mean, yeah, he had 47 points 1 year. It's kind of a outlier year for him.
Yeah, but Phil, I think that says more about the Canes than it does about him.
Yeah, I mean, he had 10 goals this year for Nashville, 33 points, which is not bad. That contract is just stupid.
Yeah. And that's what happened when you...
They just kind of lost it. Like he was granted exceptional status, and everybody thought he was going to be the next big thing. And then they went through a lot of personal things, and then something happened with the Rangers organization, and I can't really. I know of it. I'm not going to speak a lot to it, but he basically wanted out. So
yeah.
And he's kind of lost himself.
He's caught on everywhere else. So there you go. But yeah, so we're scraping the bottom of the barrel right now, guys. Hopefully there's a lot more to talk about next week. If there's significant news that breaks, obviously we'll be back for that. But look for more countdowns, other series that we're going to be doing. I think I might start doing some more ice camera actions again, talking about hockey in Hollywood. But there's other content we're going to be generating to get out here, and you know what? Plenty of times we thought there was not much. There ends up being a lot to talk about. So don't worry, we're not going anywhere. Stay with us. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, subscribe for us. Tell everybody about us because we're going to be here doing shows all throughout the summer. So everybody, we're going to get out of here right now. Thank you very much. Phil, last word to you.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Nikolai Ehlers. We're about to enter quiet season, so we're that close to it. So stay on the lookout for our stuff, for our weekly streams. I'll try to have more content for you guys over the summer in terms of just like shorter videos where we do countdowns and other stuff.
All right, everybody, we'll see you soon.